Bang bang to the gang. Benjamin Ness, P Warrior, Faithful Boys Podcast. Y'all know what we do. We bang that we can't bang no more. To infinity and beyond. Shouts out to Uncle Keith. Think he gonna be sliding in a minute. Uh, P Warrior, a lot going on with the team, bro. Man, I really don't even know where to start, bro. Massive injuries as usual. It seems like it's kind of cyclical with us every couple years. You know,
Yeah,
upswing, then it's a downswing with a lot of injuries, lack of productivity. But on another note, opportunities for unexpected players to make some plays, make a name for themselves, maybe steal a job or, really get into the rotation, uh, like a Garendo. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I don't know exactly where you want to start, and you going to guide most of it. So just take off, bro, and I'm going to, kind of pick it back in and chime in on you.
Well, first gotta give condolences out to Shavarius Ward, lost his 1-year-old child. Um,
Oh man, I ain't never
yeah,
heard
I
that.
had seen it the
Condolences,
other
bro.
day because since they've been on a bye week, I ain't, I kind of like took a little break from it, too. And then a lot of what they're talking about is the trade deadline and what they could possibly do, and McCaffrey and Greenlaw supposedly coming back after the bye, and those kind of things. But first one, just shout out the loss. You know, anytime you lose life, especially a 1-year-old child, that can have a devastating effect on you. So prayers to
Yeah,
the Ward family for the loss, and trusting that God will give them the peace that they need to go forward. But I would say, in a nutshell, this first 8 games has been a mixture of poor coaching, injuries, inconsistency, and I think a lot of it too has been the training camp holdouts of Ayuk and Williams. Unfortunately, Ayuk, out for the season with the ACL and MCL. Wish him a speedy recovery. Um, and at the same time, the rookie class has kind of saved them too. You refer to Garendo and some of the players on defense like Mustafa and Green, and um, uh, the receiver 19, I'm forgetting his name, um, and Ricky Pearsall coming back, and Pooney starting every game at the right guard position. So you got to give Lynch and them credit for finding the players that could fill in the gaps and the void of the injuries, you know, um, and still, producing at a high level to keep the team at 500. So I would say in these first 8 games, that's what I've seen. I mean, if you want to break it down, position by position and kind of give a grade for the first half, we can do that. Um, because I think, just given with the injuries and everything, it would probably, be the best thing. So I guess we could start at the quarterback position. I would say Purdy, with all of the injuries and some leakage on the offensive line, and then at times he been consistent. I would say he would probably be a B minus or maybe a C plus. And I just say that because there's been times where he used his legs well and made plays and those types of things. And then there was other times where he was running to save his life, and that's part of it being an offensive line. But then he threw some passes he shouldn't have threw, and the Kansas
real,
City game
real.
was the lowest of the low. you know, the Kansas City game was the lowest of the low. You didn't have it. You got to give Kansas City their credit; they got a good defense. But that was his. I probably would say that was his worst game since he's been the quarterback, honestly. But you give him props because he can extend and make the plays with his legs. For the most part, he's been accurate. Now there's been a lot of drop balls by receivers too, so you can't just fault him. He's put some balls in some nice spots, and Debo dropped a bunch on Sunday. Kittle have, Ayuk have before he got hurt. Jawan have. So, um, you gotta look at that as well. But I would say B minus, C plus. But you know, Purdy is a function of everybody else around him. And on offense, they've been ravaged by injuries. Not so much defensively. Offensively, that's what they've been hurt this year by the injuries. And they haven't had McCaffrey, and it's been inconsistent. And yet he still have made enough plays to win them games. And really, we should be 6-2, honestly, because they gave up the game to Arizona. They gave up the game to the Rams. So
Right.
I would say the only two games that they really looked outmatched was against Minnesota and definitely against Kansas City. So that's what I would say as far as a quarterback. And I don't know what your thoughts are, but that's how I look at it.
No, I got you. I ain't necessarily mad at you. On your assessment. I'm not down on Purdy. After all that's going on, I definitely understand all the, some of the factors that's, contributing to the play. At the same time, I do feel like it highlights somewhat of what they had talked about when they were drafting the Trey Lance, as far as being able to play behind the X's and O's, and not that he haven't done that, but to the degree that he's able to do that is still, the question. But I'm not tripping off him. You feel, it kind of is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, he's athletic enough and maybe more athletic than people give him credit for, and that allows him to make the plays, type of thing. So, is he a Josh Allen or somebody like that? Lamar Jackson? No, but for what we need him to do, he's enough, and maybe more than enough, maybe a little extra, But more than not, he's at his best when he have all of the weapons available. But they, haven't had that, and then offensive line at times have struggled. So, yeah, I would say, like I said, for me, um, they ain't winning without him. That's for sure.
Yeah, they
You put it to you
the
like that.
O-line struggled mightily. I'm with you.
Yeah, they're not winning. They're not winning any games without it. So, we definitely need them to be playing every week. I guess as far as the running back position, I would give Mason an A, just because we've always kind of known that he had the talent, but he just didn't have the opportunity. Well, with McCaffrey being down pretty much the first half of the year, he got his opportunity, and running hard, physical, catching the ball, a complete running back. You got to give him his props for the offseason with the catching on the jugs, and Bobby Turner, coaching him up. Hopefully he can come back from the shoulder injury that he had, after the bye, and be 100% healthy, because they're going to need him, like Garendo, but Garendo ain't him. Garendo don't have that experience that he have. And then if they could get McCaffrey back, then you would have a really nice three-headed monster at running back, and you could kind of use McCaffrey in that receiver role to kind of offset losing Ayuk. So Mason is huge. Okay, Uncle Keith asking to come in. So I would say,
Damn,
as far as Mason, it's
I don't see
definitely
him,
an
bro.
A.
Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
okay, yeah. I
Hey,
would say,
We outside?
hey,
what's up?
yeah,
We outside?
Yes, sir.
yeah.
How about
Need
them
the
boys?
49ers to be inside, getting it in the second half.
How about them boys? We
Yeah.
can
So
depend on them to get well, can't we?
yeah, yeah, that was much needed for him. So, but yeah, I would say Mason would be an A for me, just in terms of what he's done. I like Garendo, stepping up. He got the home
Hmm.
run speed. I think he could run a little more physical, but he gonna learn. But if
Yeah.
they can get McCaffrey back and have McCaffrey and Garendo and Mason as a nice three-headed monster at running back, you could do some things. Shanahan could put, like I was saying, McCaffrey at that receiver position and a slot and move him around. Because Shanahan need chess pieces, and on the chess piece he didn't had is Debo, and then Debo ain't always been on point. So if they can get McCaffrey back and he is healthy, 100% healthy, and Mason come back 100% healthy, and then you can use Garendo as kind of like the home run man, then I would like that. So I think overall, in spite of the injuries and stuff with the running backs, I I would probably say definitely a B, B plus, maybe an A, just because Mason have really saved them running the ball. they they lucky they had Mason. They ain't had Mason, they would have really been in some hurt. So that's my thoughts on that.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely. My biggest concern is this. We need the depth so bad. This is the one team in the NFL that definitely needs depth. We have the depth. We just can't keep it healthy. And at some point or another, after 3 seasons straight of this, of having a more talented team that gets hurt so critical at critical times, we got to ask ourselves why. We have the talent. And if our talent was healthy, we'd run away with the league. What's going on in the 49ers to where we get these guys hurt
Oh,
so
talk
often,
to me.
so
Talk
critically?
to me.
Okay. Now I cannot tell you that these guys are not getting in shape. I cannot tell you that the strength and conditioning coach is not doing his job. I can't tell you any of that because I just don't know. But what I can tell you is we're too hurt too often. And with all the talent in the world, if you don't have your key players at key times, you got nothing. And this is a league where there's so much parity between the teams. You need your superior players and superior points of the game. We got guys that could bust runs on 3rd and 2. But if he's got a bad shoulder and he's wincing when he hits the line, he don't get caught every time. Garindo is not built the same way Mason is. McCaffrey is not built the same way Mason is, but McCaffrey and Mason complement each other better than Garindo and Mason. Your linchpin is your line buster, Mason. Get him healthy. That way you don't have to dog out McCaffrey because you had a whole half a season to rest him and heal him up. We should take off like gangbusters. And Garindo, like you said, people, where is that home run hitter? The kid's got nice speed, but I cannot emphasize enough that I don't want to say this the wrong way, but our offensive line is trash. Point blank. Straight up, man. Seriously. I mean, I heard enough about garbage this week, so I didn't want to say garbage. We just call it trash. And be real frank with you, as an offensive coordinator, if I had to scheme my line because my talent wasn't there and move pieces from side to side, I would do that depending upon the play. Even if I had to tip off a play. Because right now we got a hole big enough to keep McCaffrey on his heels for the rest of the season. And I mean, Purdy. And you cannot have a guy that can put a ball on a dime, worry about where his feet are. And that's what he's doing. He's making high throws because he's looking down trying to see if he's got a lane to throw in. Sorry about that. I went off topic a little bit, but how y'all
Oh,
doing?
it's good. 'Cause we had just talked about Purdy. We kind of like doing grades for the first half, and I had said that I thought it was a B plus to a C minus, but a lot of that is because of the injuries, the offensive line at times, him using his legs well, but then at other times not using his legs well, throwing some balls, that he shouldn't throw, and especially in the Kansas City game, he just made throws that, he shouldn't have made, but we ain't winning
He's
without him.
pressing.
So we gotta
He's pressing.
shore up the offensive line, do something to improve it, So
He
I
is he
guess
is pressing. He's a warrior. He'll go out on his shield and he's pressing. And you only press is if your game plan is not solid enough and your pieces aren't solid enough in front of you. He wants to win that bad. And the guys are playing for him. I don't see anybody in that locker room disgruntled about his play. Not
yeah,
one person. You will not hear it from Debo or anybody. But what you will hear is we got to do better by him. That's the sense I get. Even the fans haven't turned on him. He's
yeah,
pressing because he does not have the time or the opportunity or the tools to work with. He's got the talent. He can make all the throws. He can run but if he had a little, I'd say a second and a half more in the pocket, he wouldn't make some of those bad choices, those tight windows. I mean, he was throwing into some tight windows and you either have to be 100% lucky or it's going to be 100% horrible. And you start doing that.
yeah,
And my grade for Purdy in the first half would be a B also. I would not give him an A. I would not give him a B minus and I wouldn't give him a C, but I'd give him a B and the B allows for the curve of the circumstances. You got a all world running back that you haven't had all season. You just lost your top receiver. Juwan Jennings went down, who was your clutch guy, the guy you had the best timing with so far this season. Okay. Um, you got Pearsall, which who just came back from, being shot. And you don't want to run him out there and dog him half to death, getting him hit over the middle all the time. So you need some pieces back in place. But the kid got hard. I give it to him. I like Pierce. I like the way he runs routes. So I would give him a B with the proviso that if he had all those tools, we wouldn't be having this discussion at all.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and talk about, I guess, the wide receivers, tight ends, and
How are we gonna do that?
well,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
yeah. Well, I mean, obviously IU, held out, then came back and wasn't, like he was, pre
Mhm.
getting the cash. Then he got hurt, so you'd have to say incomplete on him. Debo been a mixed bag, some plays yeah, and then some no, but then Shanahan trying to use him as a chess piece all over, and so that's kind of working against him. Pearsall being down, shot, coming back. Um, they had to use Connolly, and he didn't get some things, but he ain't really supposed to be out there. Jawan
He
and
got
me
rubber
been a best
hands.
receiver all year, but
Hmm.
then he got hurt, so and then they what was the I'm forgetting the boy, the rookie 19. He looked like he got potential. Y'all just got to get him more run.
Cowing,
Yeah,
cowing,
Kyle, and yeah, I can't
please,
remember the
Jay
dude
Yeah,
name.
Cowing.
Yeah,
he's got to get
Kyle.
more reps.
Yeah,
He's gonna get
and
them
then
now.
y'all had to run Ronnie Bell out there.
Oh man, don't even get me started. I don't give Ayuk a pass on an incomplete. I'm not doing that. I'm dead serious when I say that. And I'll tell you why I don't give him an incomplete. All right. When he was in, he wasn't trying that hard to compete. He was running routes, but he
Yeah,
was not competing for the ball. We've said this how many times this season. You got to want that ball. You got to have to go get it. You got your bag. Now act like you got your bag. I did not see that kind of play from that man. I saw him quit on routes in multiple games, not run to the ball when Purdy's back there running for his life. If he's your best hands, your best guy, the guy you have the best rhythm with, which you didn't have a chance to practice with, he needs to fight for that ball. There were some interceptions. He could have fought for the ball. I did not see that uh, wide receiver one kind of effort.
yeah. Well,
So I give him a C. C,
Who you talking about? That's
damn near C
Debo.
minus.
we talking
IU.
about IU.
Oh yeah.
Well, like
Now
I said,
as for
I would
Debo,
still say incomplete just
as
because of the injury.
mhm, I, I'm sorry, I don't give him a pass on that. I got to grade what I saw, not what I didn't see. And what
Yeah,
I saw was a lackadaisical effort. IU, Debo, whew, that's a tough one because Debo plays kind of reckless. He knows what he's capable of, but he's not Superman anymore. And these defenders know how to hit him. He's always
yeah,
putting his body in an awkward position. Dude, catch the ball in space and do your cuts. You are not an Ayuk type of receiver. You are not a Jennings type of receiver. Quit laying yourself out like that, and you won't get yourself your bell rung all the time. Catch and scat.
Look, some argue, are you really a receiver?
He's more like a
yeah.
half. Well, he ain't a halfback,
No, he ain't a halfback.
you know.
Definitely not a halfback.
He ain't a
Wide
tight
back,
end.
wide back.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you have that one. Good.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
think they need to play Cowan more, Pearsall more. Well, they ain't gonna have no choice. You're gonna have to run him out there. Hopefully Jennings can come back out the bye healthy. That
yep,
way,
I think so.
you know, because I figure with him and Debo and Pearsall and Cowan, you got
And what
enough
about
of a threat
McCaffrey?
out there. Yeah, well, and that's what I was saying. If McCaffrey come back healthy, Shanahan can use him at the receiver, but that's why they need Mason healthy. So you can have
Yep.
that 1-2 combo and use them, like that. What y'all think about George Kittle? I think he been solid. He been what he normally is, reliable. He didn't drop some, but more than not, he didn't caught, blocked, and did everything that he normally do out there. So, um,
I
I
think
think I
that
would give Kittle a B.
I would give Kittle more opportunities.
Yeah, I agree.
in a position that is favorable to him. You know where his strengths are. Play to him. Don't put somebody in a Kittle receiving situation and expect him to do what Kittle does. You did that with Collins. You've done that with Jennings several times. You got some third and sixth plays. Those balls need to go to Kittle. That is your possession receiver. He catch the ball, he'll catch it solid, he got good hands, and he'll run for the sticks. That's what he gets used for. And when you get inside the red zone, let him do the pick play and catch the damn ball. He can score. He knows he has a nose for the end zone.
Yeah,
Why are you not
I agree
using him
with
down
you.
there? Why are you not using him down there? Why on first and second down are you running off left tackle inside the red zone? Why are we doing that 5 out of 6 games, 80% of the times on first and goal? Go back and look at the season. 80% of the time, we had a first and second play or run plays. We don't even use our best play. Our best play in our offense is an RPO. We don't use that in the red zone. Why? Because our offensive line is trash, probably, but still, that's your strength.
I agree with you on Kittle. I think to me I feel like it's kind of an up year, but I
Hmm.
do feel like he's been underutilized in the past. Uh, but I just hope that, well, really and truly, that's all you got. So shit, he gonna get a lot of touches this year. I just hope
Hmm.
when everybody get healthy, they can finally put it together. But I'm always pro Kittle.
Oh, me too. There's no doubt about his effort. He's somebody that will fight for the ball. He's the one that'll protect you from interceptions too. I don't see enough of that from the other receivers and the other players on this team. I see Williams doing his thing. I see Warner doing his thing. I need to see some gas. We're talking about it. Give a shit. Somebody, show me some gas. If you got some gas. Excuse my language, but that's the way I was always taught. Some people
I
have
hear
it and
you.
some people don't. And that's what it takes. Look at how Detroit's playing. Them bad boys will fight you to the ground for the ball. Punching balls out and stuff like that. You got to have that in this league right now. If you're running back, you better hold on to that ball for your dear life. You can't have all these cute hip runs and getting the ball punched out because they will punch it out every time they get close to you. The league has changed. There's a lot more internal close-up contact, which is where some of these injuries are coming from too. But we have got to play with more discipline and more heart. Who is the inspirational leader on our football team right now? Any ideas, fellas?
It's always gonna, to me, Fred Warner on D and
Yeah,
Kittle on offense.
Yeah.
At least the person you're gonna rally behind.
Now Fred Warner's getting his game on, right?
yeah.
But Kittle's being underutilized. What does that tell you? Something's going on with the leadership, I think, and I think it has to do with Shanahan overthinking the game. How is it every game for the last 2 seasons we have to hold on to win? We don't run away winning games. That tells me you're changing what got you there every single game. You're consistent about how you do it, but you're changing what got us to the lead. Why? It doesn't work. Not consistent. Well, I can't. That would be a lie because they won a lot of games, but it's nerve wracking. And this season, it bit us. We should have only lost, honestly speaking, one, maybe 2 games.
That's what I said. The
Even with
Minnesota
all the
game,
injuries, we
Kansas
had
City
chances
game.
to win all those games, and we let people back into games. I mean, how did we lose that Minnesota game? Come on, man.
Well, I would say Minnesota was better than them. That I would say they should need to. They really should be 6-2 on the two games that they really, to me, got outplayed. Definitely Kansas City and the Minnesota game. The other games they should have won.
Yeah,
The
okay,
Rams and the Cardinals game is the two games they should have where they should be six
in the
and two
bag.
and not 4-4.
Yeah. All right, I'll roll with that. I don't think they should have lost to Minnesota. In my opinion, I don't think they should have lost the Minnesota game either.
But then they called
KC, I could
Minnesota
see.
when Minnesota was really playing well,
Hmm.
so yeah. And then sometimes it's when you catch teams, if you catching teams and they rolling and you not, you could lose that game, but then if you rolling and they not, you more than likely gonna win it. So it's
Yep.
been, like I said, it's been kind of like a mixed bag with the team this year. Now, with the consistency, with the injuries, with the coaching, all of these different types of things. So,
How do-
um,
I still, it goes back to me to how you going to set up a gun and then take out all your bullets? How do you effectively fight like that? Why is our team so injured so critically so often? 3 straight seasons, a key personnel from quarterback to wide receiver to running back to defensive end, all these critical positions. What is happening with our team? That is something we need to address. I can't, when I played football, we used to stretch, you know what I'm saying? We would have, and in off season, we would be told not to over lift weights and things of that nature. And McCaffrey's father said that his off season regimen is tougher than his in season regimen, which maybe he's overworked himself, which is why he's in the position he is right now with tendonitis and not one leg, but two. Is that what's happening with our team?
It's a good question. I mean, to me, we already know McCaffrey kind of have a history of being hurt. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
for the other team, is it all bad luck? You know what I mean? That I guess at this point, because on some shit, I guess it's just freak accidents, like the shit with Bosa and stuff like that. But I mean, soft tissue and all that. To me, that's something different.
To me, that's conditioning, that's stretching, that's discipline, that's discipline off, off the gridiron, in the gym, in the locker room, on the field before the game. Something is missing. Since we know that, why have we not addressed it in 3 seasons? We started the season damn near with half our offensive capabilities and not available to us, and played 8 games unhealthy, offense and defense. I think it's something that needs to be talked about more often and needs to be brought up, and we need to really look at it. And I don't know, as observers, we can tell you what we think, but we don't know. I'm sick of us being hurt. I'm not seeing my 49ers team right now. I'm seeing what's left of it. And that's not a good feeling. But we still beat them Cowboys. And we let them back in the game too.
yeah.
Mm.
It's been a trend this
So
year.
Hmm. Been a trend. Absolutely. Have we, what else have we not graded so far? We didn't do the offensive line yet, have we?
that's what I was about to say next. What y'all think
Woo,
about
Lord.
the offensive line? Is it a death?
I call it offensive lie. LIE.
I know they definitely offensive.
Cause I mean, take it till you make it. Start switching pieces in and out. Make something work.
At the end of the
And
day, bro, let's keep it a
hmm?
bean. Y'all know the best player set the tempo. Trent Williams, you ain't in there. I ain't mad at you for getting your bread, but at the same time, we need work with these young boys. The line already subpar, so you not being there, big void already through camp. It just go back to the trend and or the status quo of what's going on. All your key dudes, not all of them, but enough of your key dudes not around to really build this shit from the ground up like you're supposed to this year.
I find this is where I got to talk about Lynch. You get within 18 seconds of winning the Super Bowl for the ragtag crew and Mr. Relevant as your quarterback, and you mess around with two of your most critical players not in camp. Inexcusable. It's malpractice. You knew your offensive line is at best questionable with him at full strength and with full reps. He's been playing catch up, getting up to speed during the course of the season. That's putting your running backs at risk, and it's certainly putting the franchise quarterback at risk. That is malpractice. I can't put that on the coach. I got to put that on the GM. What does it take? We had the bag. We had the cap space. So what did we accomplish? We put ourselves in a position to get outplayed, out hustled, and hurt. Just to do what? Give them what they were asking for? And if you couldn't set Ayuk down and say, I'm giving you wide receiver one money 3 weeks into training camp, which is what he ended up signing for anyways, and get him to see that, we got a failure somewhere. You're going to be our number one wide receiver. We need you in camp with our number one
Preach.
quarterback. Okay. What does it take? That's leadership. The fish stinks from the head. Now I can say what I want to about Shannon plans because I don't like the conservative coach in the second half games, but there is no excuse for Lynch and this front office and this team and this management to have let this happen with two linchpin players a year after Super Bowl. No excuse. And our weakest part of our team is our offensive line, and our most critical player stayed out of camp. So the rest of them get a chance to practice with him or develop that rhythm. And then Ayuk played himself into shape and into being hurt. I don't care how much you practice. If you don't practice with reps, you're not practicing. So my biggest challenge with our offensive line is our general manager. And as far as the grade, I said it was trash earlier. I would give it a C minus because they have done some good blocking occasionally. They're just inconsistent. So they're passing because we've been efficient sometimes. But there are some changes and some things that could have been done to where maybe our quarterback wouldn't have thrown an interception or maybe our guys wouldn't have got hurt. But it comes from, let's put ourselves in position. We should have taken this year off season as we're going to get it next year by any means necessary and throw it everything against the wall and got everybody in camp. Point blank period. We can't treat this like any other off season, and we did. And that's a big failure, in my honest opinion.
I agree.
You know, and it was frustrating to watch, and I hadn't said anything about it up to this point in the season, but I see itself manifesting in injuries, inconsistencies, and how it's going to basically, when everybody gets to play together, it'll be like we're in training camp again,
Yeah.
and we can get caught on bad days. Our season is completely at risk, not because of the 4 losses, because we have no rhythm. These guys have got to play themselves into shape. When McCaffrey comes back, you think he's going to be the McCaffrey that carried us last season?
Oh no.
No, of course not. But having Mason, though, an effective backup instead of Mitchell and Debo, will allow him to play himself into shape and will take some of the load off of Mason. Because Mason, as talented as he is, took a beating.
Yeah.
He took a beating in his first 8 games. Them shoulders come from dropping your shoulders and going for that extra yard or two. So having the threat of both of them back there will help both of them as runners.
Yeah.
Then
I
what
agree.
do? We have no passing threat at that point unless Jennings comes back.
Yeah.
Conley develops legs for him. Pearsall gets into the rhythm of things. Kittle gets back to being utilized where he should be. And an offensive line in 2 weeks, they need to be dogging them fellas out. We got to get this together. We got to protect the franchise.
Well, I would say with the offensive line, Trent Williams,
Mhm.
definitely holding out didn't help. Banks then okay. Um, the center, what's the center name? I'm forgetting the center name.
uh, I tell you, else is good, Pooney, but that's not his name. Uh,
No, um, I'm forgetting the
I
center
forget.
name, but I think they need a new center. That's just me. Pooney's been a gem on the offensive line, and then
And
68, the right tackle.
McGlinchey, whatever the fuck, whatever his
Um,
name was.
yeah,
McKivitz.
yeah, McKivitz. I don't know. I like McKivitz. I ain't saying he deserved to be out there, but he gonna battle, you know. And I think,
McKivitz got
I
beat
just
so bad so many times in the last game. He looked like he was in the band and not on the front offensive
yeah.
line. He should have been playing the drum. He got beat
So
so bad. When
yeah,
you turn around and watching your quarterback getting dropped, and the person that drops him is 4 steps past you, and you looking for somebody to hit, you
mm,
getting beat bad.
well, they gonna have to invest in offensive line in the off season. They gonna have to draft some
We should have
tackles.
traded. We should have hit some. We should have got somebody on the old line during the trade deadline. How many more days is it over with now?
No, it's not
'Cause,
on Tuesday, but everybody talking about they going for defense. So I don't think they're gonna make no move for offense as far as alignment is concerned. But they gotta address it in the off season. So we just gotta hope that they play better as a unit
hmm,
to give Purdy the time he need to make the plays with the players we have out there going forward. So what's your thoughts as far as the defensive line? What would you grade the defensive line as?
B plus.
And I would agree with that. I would agree with
You
that.
know, um, for the most part, we haven't getting a lot of silly runs up.
Yeah,
You
they've
know,
been solid
um,
against the run.
we we haven't gotten as many pressures as we should.
Yeah, I agree.
We've gotten some, and we don't play with our hands up. So these little divot passes are getting in, and I got to feel that's about effort and discipline also. And we got some talent on that defensive line.
Mm.
So, but that comes from, I don't know. To me, it's just an overall attitude in that locker room. I mean, just the want to. You said it a couple weeks ago. They got to want to catch that ball. You got to want to get that sack. Bosa's got to get there. You know, both
Well,
sides. You got to get there.
I would say I seen more effort from Bosa, more want to, more get after, and that's encouraging. I do agree with you. They got some good young defensive tackles that they need to
Hmm.
play more. But then I think y'all need to adjust the scheme because y'all been playing that wide nine for so many
It's
years.
so
Teams have
long.
adjusted to
Oh
that
my.
wide nine. Y'all got to switch up the fronts and the looks from it. Y'all not
Hmm.
gonna go away from the core basic concepts of it, but to me, y'all need to switch it up at times and stop, just tipping your hand and saying, okay, this is what we gonna do, and y'all try to stop it. I mean, them days of y'all just bulldozing through people is over, and then y'all lost Hargrave, which didn't help.
No, absolutely not.
So yeah, so to me, and that's why I was kind of saying in some of
You
the shows we did in the past, is like it to me, it's a time for y'all to switch the scheme up or to diversify the scheme, which y'all said y'all was, but it looked the same to everybody that's watching it. You know what I'm
you can't
saying?
play
So
like you got the same talent you always had. Hargrave
true,
is a
yeah,
big piece that's missing. And that scheme
mm,
worked when he was there because he could fill that gap. He
yeah.
also hit that line laterally. You know, somebody, whatever, I think this guy's on EIR, Drake.
Ooh.
Not, is it, oh man, defensive tackle right side 2 years ago. What was his name?
Oh,
Uh, I forgot his name.
you talking about the
Uh,
guy they brought in from Carolina?
yeah, I
Yeah,
can't remember his
he is
name.
hurt form. I know who you're talking about. Gross
I don't
Matos.
have my iPad. Yes, I don't
Yeah,
have my
Gross
iPad in front of
Matos.
me.
Yeah, it's
I
Gross
stopped as fast as I
Matos.
could on the road on the way home so I could hop on. So I'm not at
Yeah.
home.
But
But
yeah,
yeah,
well, Gross Mato's supposed to be coming back after the bye, so hopefully he can give him something on the defensive line. But to me, Leonard Floyd, you ain't really did nothing. Both of you starting to come on. That's why if they gonna make a deadline move, it's gonna be for another defensive end because y'all don't have enough pass
pass
rushers.
rushing.
I need more.
Yep. And there's some good ones out there that are on questionable teams,
Hmm.
you know. So, and a lot of teams would like to come play, players like to come play for the 49ers. It's not like we have a problem getting somebody wanting to come to us,
True. Yeah,
you
I
know.
agree
'Cause, I
with
mean, everybody that looks at our team sees the potential to beat KC,
that.
except
Yeah.
for KC.
Yeah. Basically, right?
And that goes back to another part of our conversation. KC definitely has the want to. They figure out a way to get it done.
Yeah, I
They're,
agree.
they're 6-0 with. So, I mean, last year they were 4-2, 4-3, and then end up winning the Super Bowl with a raggedy, what seemed like a raggedy team, but it was good enough to get it done. This
Yeah,
year they're 6-0, or they 7-0. I can't remember.
yeah. Six
And
and
they're
oh, I
beating
believe. No, seven
everybody.
and oh, I
They're
think.
beating, yeah, they're beating everybody, but they're not blowing anybody away. They're controlling the game on both sides of the ball, offense, defense, being extremely efficient, being opportunistic, and they're hungry for the ball.
Agree.
And Mahomes ain't having his best career, but he doesn't have to when the whole team plays as a unit. So we're missing that element of the team because he's also got a healthier, much healthier team than we got.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I agree with you. Well, like I said, I say overall for the defensive line, I would give it a B. There's been times where they definitely are better against the run than he was last year. The pass
yes, I would
rush,
say
mm,
pass rush to me is about the same as it was last year. Same
yeah,
challenges. The run is I went from a C plus to an A minus as far
mhm,
as against the run.
yeah,
Um, Scheme wise, I still think the scheme is at best a B. You
yeah.
know,
I think
it's a
scheme.
B because they operated so well with that scheme for so long, but it's not an
Yeah,
A or an A plus where it needs to be if everything else behind it is not
mm,
going to be an A plus. Because
right.
once they get past our defensive line, Lord have mercy, we in trouble.
Well,
That
I
goes to the
think they need
secondary
to.
there.
Yeah, I need to. I think they need the scheme change. That's just my personal opinion. But
I think you're right. I think you're 100% correct. But I think they need a scheme change on both sides of the ball.
yeah, I would concur. I would agree with that. So, what are your
Somebody
thoughts
called and
about?
asked me in my DM, am I trying to fire Shanahan? No, I'm trying to fire him up.
Yeah,
Does that make more sense? Come on,
yeah.
man. We know you can scheme within your comfort zone. Show me something outside of your comfort zone. Look at Detroit's coach going for it on fourth down, trick plays, fake punch. I mean, these are the things that change games. But you also have to execute. You can't do like the Giants did and mess up a 2 point, but one side, left side didn't know what the right side was doing. We've got to be creative. We have the talent.
Yeah, we do. I agree with that. We do have the talent. Definitely have the talent. So, what are your thoughts
Mhm.
about the linebackers?
I'm a little ambiguous because I've seen some crappy play and I've seen some outstanding play. And I've seen some crappy play when I say that guys not being in their lane. Hufanga was notorious for not staying in his lane, but he was also so superior talented that he could get away because he could stop back and recover and fill the gap. These guys are trying to play the same lane and do not have the same skill set he had. And they're getting caught out of position in the most critical times. Other times they stay in their lane and they do what they're supposed to do. So if I had to give it a grade, I would give it a suspect B, not a B minus or not a B plus.
Yeah. Well, I think Fred obviously is an A. He been all world, all pro Fred from jump this year. So,
Hmm.
definitely an A. Um, Campbell, Devondre Campbell is trash. They need to get him out of there. You
Quickly.
know. Yeah, I
Matter of
like D
fact, he needs to be
Winters,
waived.
and I'm glad that he's playing because you can see the skill and the
Effort.
the speed.
You can see the
Yeah.
effort.
The other guy, 45, I'm forgetting his name. Yeah, they he don't need to be in there neither. Hopefully Dre Greenlaw can come back in the second half, and
Is
not
Greenlaw
saying
supposed to come back after the bye?
that's what they're saying.
Lord, you know, we could have a whole new team after the bye.
Yeah, that's true, and I think that's what a lot of people are hoping that
Well,
that's
it's
going
the
to be
only
the
way we make the
case.
playoffs. The
Yeah,
only way we
yeah,
make it.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
what we're basically doing right now is we're grading what was,
Hmm.
and we really need to start thinking about once we know what's going to be,
Yeah.
you know, and anticipating that, you know, we could, if I would, could you all day
Hmm.
long. But if we start getting
Right.
back some key place people, it changes the dynamic with everywhere. Um, our poor quarterback under the circumstances.
Mm,
I would rather him make those mistakes in the first 8 games than in the last 8 games,
yeah.
because
Well,
those first 8 games show effort and intent. You get the right people in place, you'll see the refinement and you'll see a night and day, and we catch people off guard.
yeah. Well,
He's my
I would
QB1.
agree with that.
I like this kid. The kid really, well, you know that from 3 years ago. I like this
Yeah.
kid. To me, he's a catch. He's definitely a catch. And I've seen him make some passes that I've seen nobody else make. But I also seen him make some passes nobody else should try to make too.
True.
So, and that comes down to the receivers that want to, what I liked about, remember what was that guy's name? Johnson. They used to call him the Terminator or whatever it was, Megatron.
Yeah.
Megatron made his quarterback look good because he got to the ball. He fought to get to the ball. Okay. We have guys that aren't as talented as him, but if they show that kind of effort, we could take more chances. The thing 3 years ago, we talked about Purdy that I liked about him when he was a rookie was when he came into those preseason games, he went off script more times than he stayed on script with Shanahan's plays and
Mhm.
produced. That's when we first noticed him as a group, all of us.
Yeah.
You don't want him to have to do that now because I almost get the sense this year, unlike last year, I think he's almost overcoached this year.
Yeah.
He's thinking too much. He's trying to be a coach's quarterback instead of being a team quarterback. That's something I want to run past you. Thoughts?
I wouldn't disagree with that. I think, like you said earlier, it's been pressure for Purdy. Purdy trying to make plays and don't have all his players to be out there to make plays.
Hmm.
And then some of that's been the coaching and inconsistency in his own play. Um,
Yeah.
and so hopefully, like you said, these first 8 games was kind of like, let's go ahead and get all of the mistakes
Kinks out. Hmm.
and the kinks out, and hopefully in the second half, the team will be healthy, and then we can kind of see them make a run based off of what they're gonna do at the trade deadline, and they're gonna bring somebody in, but just getting McCaffrey back, possibly getting Greenlaw back, and just the overall health of the team, and knowing that y'all got to play with this sense of urgency because
You don't have
you're
any
not
room.
going. Yeah, you don't have no more room for error in a sense. And then the second half of the
Hmm.
schedule is a little harder because you playing Green Bay, you playing Buffalo, you playing Miami. You got to travel to those places. That's road games. You
And
know what
these
I'm
are all
saying?
teams we can beat, though.
Yeah,
We can beat these
exactly.
teams.
So right. So I think yeah, they got to come with this sense of urgency to make this run. That's the only way, like you said earlier, that they will realistically make the playoffs is by playing better, being healthier, but playing with that sense of urgency to be like, man, if we trying to even have a sniff of the playoffs to have a chance to get back to the Super Bowl, then we got to play better than we have. So,
We
yeah, I
cannot go
agree with
into
you
the
with that.
playoffs 10-6. We got to go at least 11-5 or 12-12. I don't think we're going to run the table between here and there, but there's a possibility.
Yeah,
Depending, we'll know more after the bye week than we do today.
yeah, I
And
agree.
when we get enough pieces back and enough potentially coming back each week, we can make a heck of a run.
Hmm.
You know,
I
uh,
agree with
I don't have the sense that I want to tolerate another season of we almost had it all. You know, we need to get this thing tightened up. And I promise you, in this off season, if we got anybody we decide, we need to start negotiating right now and keep our whole team in camp come training camp. And we can see what that does to a team. Again, if I say nothing else on tonight's podcast, I blame John Lynch for the fiasco of the first half of this season. And I think it has been a fiasco. I think we wasted potential, we wasted effort, and we wasted time, and we spent the same money for for that effort. That money that we spent had it been spent early, got these guys in camp, we would be 6-2 or 7-1, and it'd be in a lot better position going forward. And our team would have been a lot healthier.
you. Yeah, I agree with
That's
that.
my that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
Well,
Well, Where's your brother?
Oh, he had to dip out for a minute, so
Yeah,
he had texted me and
I
told me.
got you.
So yeah, so but I'm gonna go ahead and finish out with the secondary. I think overall the secondary been good. Um,
Hmm. Better than
I like
last year.
more, yeah, and Mustafa and Green have stepped
Greens are
up.
playing well. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's helped. Um, Hufanga, getting hurt unfortunately, but Mustafa filled in, and I think Mustafa got that spot going forward.
Me too.
Jair Brown been solid, not spectacular, but solid. Um, at the other safety
Yeah.
position, he could play better. They could be, better play overall. I think Demo been the best player in the secondary all year.
Yeah.
You know,
Appreciate
in
that.
my opinion, yeah. And so special teams, I'm gonna just keep it brief. Not the kicking and the punt. I think the kicking and the punting been good.
Right.
When they've been
But
healthy. But the coverage units, trash, straight
oh,
trash.
that comes right back to discipline.
Yes,
Guys
sir.
not staying in their lane. And
Yeah,
also, once you figure out what lane they're in, wanting to get to the ball, you got to put that want to in there.
right.
We watching the run back. What are we doing? You need to be hitting a brick wall when we kick that ball. And even our receiving on the kicking game has been a little bit suspect. Been a lot
Yeah,
suspect.
because they wanted Moody to kick the ball into the end zone, but then there's been times where he didn't get in the end zone, and that's when you get your run backs and
Hmm.
stuff. But then your coverage units got to be solid and better in terms of like you said, lane integrity and staying put in the right position in order to make those kind of plays. So I guess since we didn't reviewed everything, Uncle, what do you think needs to happen after they come off the bye? They play at Tampa Bay on the road to start back on a winning track. What do you think needs to happen?
One word: health.
I agree.
Fair enough.
Yeah, oh no, I agree. Yeah, they're
Once you have
healthy.
that, once you get the right talent in the right places, or just we're losing games by next to no margin with half a team.
Yeah,
We get one or two pieces back. We're better than anybody else out there. Look at this fool. The Jets just scored again. If this guy let the ball go before he got in the end zone,
yeah.
I hate
Oh,
that play, man.
yeah.
Worse than any other play. Watch. 1,000, 1. Why don't you run the ball in the end zone? Foot's in, ball is out. He did not cross the plane with the ball.
Crazy. Well, I'm gonna
I
say
would bench somebody for that. I'm sorry.
no. You good?
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna say for the second half, two words: health and consistency will be what
I
they
would
need.
disagree. I disagree with consistency on just one level. And I meant to, I'm glad you said that because I wanted to say this too. A little diversity. Let's get off some of the same old shit we've been doing.
I agree. I agree
Does
with
that
that.
make sense? So
Yeah,
I'm not disputing the consistency. We want to be consistently good, but we also want to be a little different. We want to change the defensive scheme. We want to stop playing safety football in the second half. We want to beat somebody 42-14 like Detroit did or 52-14
yeah,
so we can all enjoy the game, the entire game. We want to leave no doubt and put doubt in anybody that plays us the next game. These boys is bringing it. We want to take somebody to the woodshed, like my dad used to say.
yeah. I
You know, when
agree.
you go to the woodshed, if the fire was already burning, the next thing to be burning was your hind parts.
Yeah, got you. Got you.
So that's what I see going forward.
Well,
Well, Mr. Warrior, I got to bounce up out of here because they're throwing me out of my favorite restaurant because they caught me halfway home. I couldn't make it in time to make the show, so I had to stop.
okay. That's all
But it's
good, Uncle. God willing,
always
we'll
a
be able to
pleasure.
get on this coming Thursday to kind of preview the Tampa Bay game and kind of look forward to the second half. Maybe we'll see, if
Who's
some
going
of
to be
these guys
healthy?
gonna
And
be healthy. Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
sir.
yeah.
I
So,
agree. I totally agree. Well, I
no,
look
it's
forward
good.
to it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So,
Like I say, we outside.
We outside all day long. We gonna bang
all
bang
day.
till we can't no more. On behalf
Bang,
of
bang
Uncle
to
Keith,
infinity.
being good. This is P Warrior _9er signing off. Faithful Boys Podcast. We'll see you next week. Bang bang.
Bang, bang.
Yes, sir.